fine. Thank goodness you're all right. Is everything okay?
Honey, I shrunk the audience.
Journey with us now to the dawn of recorded time as we explore the amazing story of human communication.
WDW Radio, your information station.
Hello, my friend, and welcome to the WDW Radio Show, your Walt Disney World information station. I am your host, Lou Mangello, and this is show number 684. And together, as we have been since 2005, we're going to celebrate the magic of the Disney parks, movies, Marvel, Star Wars, and more here on the podcast, my weekly live video, events, blog, and more. Please be sure to join the community, subscribe to the podcast, and find everything else at WDWRadio.com. So this week, we're going to continue our patriotic journey through the parks with our list of the top 10 all-American foods in Walt Disney World. From individual items to specific locations, we'll look at some of the delicious ways you can literally get a taste of America in the parks and resorts. Then stay tuned to our Disney Trivia Question of the Week and more updates at the end of the show. And if you like what you hear, please share the show and tell a friend. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of the WDW Radio Show. As America prepares to celebrate its independence on July 4th, last week we looked at some of the many ways the Disney parks, not just in America, but around the world, have celebrated the United States in attractions, shows, pavilions, and complete lands. But what we didn't discuss is one of the most important aspects of our great nation, because in many ways, food built America. And the many diverse cultures, backgrounds, and flavors made us Americans. A new culinary celebration rooted in all races. That's my really bad Benjamin Franklin interpretation of the beginning of the American adventure. And so, as I half-jokingly, I'm so sorry, Ben, as I alluded to on last week's show, the 10 ways the Disney parks have celebrated America, this week we're going to go and look at the top 10 all-American foods in Walt Disney World. And joining me once again is a man like Walt who loves America and like Walt has a pretty plain palate and doesn't stray much from the basics. Even Walt's chili might be a stretch for him, but he is Tim Meat and Potatoes Foster from Celebrations Magazine and Guide to the Magic.com.
I have so much to unpack there with what you just said. I mean, some of my entries might surprise you with my gentle palate accusation you threw at me. Second of all, Benjamin Franklin would be very proud of you. That was well done. And third of all, I'm most excited about this list because I think if nothing else, it's going to add at least 5 or 6 more places you will take me to eat at Walt Disney World.
I agree, and that has me,
yes,
I'm giddy with excitement for so many reasons, because this combines all the things I love: America, food, top 10s, and Tim Foster.
Clearly not in that order either.
Well, it's, again, the list is very malleable. But look, I've been saying for years that Walt Disney World is so much more than hot dogs and burgers and really can take you on a culinary adventure. But it has all-American foods like hot dogs and burgers and so many more meats and sweets and treats that really are like the staples of the American menu. And I'm going to be very curious to sort of go down this list with you because for me, there were some of the very easy ones, but I also remembered that America is a melting pot, literally and figuratively, like a giant fondue pot of cultures and flavors and tastes. And look, I think, you know, just from a grander view at the outset, Tim, you know, going to Walt Disney World.
Coming to America.
In
America.
Part 3. Right. Going to Walt Disney World is, for many Americans, like it's sort of like an American rite of passage.
Yeah. That's why I go.
Thank you for that defense. All right, get right into this. Is going to be so interesting. Strap in. Give me the first item on your list of top 10 all-American foods in Walt Disney World.
All right. Well, I was struggling what to pick. Do I pick the obvious one? Let's get it out of the way, or one that I have? I hope you don't take. I'm going to go for the obvious, out of the way. And I got a little scared when you said hot dogs and hamburgers because I thought you were going to dismiss that whole category. It's so obvious we don't need to talk about it. But I mean, let's talk about hot dogs. I'm going to start right there. That was the first thing that immediately popped to mind when you said this. And of course, Casey's Corner. It's not. We all know Casey's Corner. We all know hot dogs. And it's not just about the all-American hot dog. And yes, I go for Walt's chili cheese, all beef footlong. That's me. I do that. But the whole Casey's Corner theming and the Main Street and the baseball and everything. I remember when the bleachers were there, when the pinball machine was there.
Yeah.
Great little thing I always love to point out and share with people. But so much fun. So, just everything about it, not just the food, but the decor and the theming and it being on Main Street just screams America. And I'm sure you have a lot to add about hot dogs and the offerings and so forth. I did want to throw in there, this isn't a 4th of July thing necessarily, but when we talk about hot dogs in this family, we talk about something we got at Casey's Corner. But it was at the Villains After Hours night, which is more of a Halloween vibe than a 4th of July. But we got it at Casey's, and I would be remiss if they did not mention the Hades hot dog. And I don't know if I've talked about it on this show, and I don't know if you, Lou Mangello, have had a Hades hot dog.
I don't think I have.
Oh, all right. Let me paint a picture for you. So it's the hot dog. And again, it's at Casey's. Has buffalo chicken on the top, diced celery, spicy ranch, and a fiery cheese dust, as they describe it. But best of all, it's in a black bun, not a blackened bun, not a toasted bun, a black, honest to goodness bun. And it was actually a treat. My daughter was aware of it when we went to the Villains After Hours. We weren't quite sure where it was. We spent half the evening tracking this item down, found it, and it was fantastic. So, like I said, when we talk about getting a hot dog at Disney in our family, we actually end up talking about the Hades hot dog. But hey, Casey's is where we go for hot dogs. I know there's so many other places you can go to get them in Disney, and I figure you've got stuff to say on this topic. So
very little, other than great minds.
Really?
Do think? Well, look, Casey's was very high on my list because it's everything America. It's baseball and hot dogs and Coca-Cola and Walt Disney. I think, refreshment corner in Disneyland. I love hot dogs like I do, just sort of, and sort of just that plain all beef foot long hot dog. But what I've always loved about Casey's, and it's changed and sort of it went away and came back a little bit, I've always loved the toppings bar and that fake Disney cheese that we know and love so very much. And actually, here's the play. You take some of that fake Disney cheese and you dip in some of those corn dog nuggets in there.
Oh, yeah.
That is the way to
I'm
do it.
liking it.
Yeah. And
I'm liking it.
Like many places in Disney, I want to make sure we mention too, there are plant-based slaw dogs and plant-based hot dogs in there too. So there is now a little something for everyone. But it's a great first entry because it is really, Tim, that sort of all-American location as well as all-American food item.
Take me out to the ball game.
I dig.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going first on my list, would have been first on my list, even more so based on this past week. Because on June 23rd, just a few days ago, as the day we are recording this, I was fortunate enough to attend the very grand on so many levels, reopening of an truly, not just a Walt Disney World, but an American institution. One of, if not the longest running dinner shows in America, the Hoop-de-Doo Musical Review. Oh, this almost too should be not just the American, but the Walt Disney World rite of passage, because everything about this screams America. From the food with the cornbread and the pork ribs and the fried chicken and mac and cheese and mashed potatoes and Ma's famous strawberry shortcake. Like it is the quintessential sort of American backyard barbecue. And we won't get too far into the details of the show itself, but it is like the Hoop-de-Doo is sort of all things, America, from the red and white checkered napkins to the wonderfully cheesy entertainment, and how it is something that the family, like Walt wanted, could enjoy together. It hasn't really changed much in almost 50 years. And there's a reason for that, Tim, because the classics like this still continue to speak to people. It still continues to entertain people. And maybe, the apple pie is now strawberry shortcake, and, maybe a song might have changed. But for all intents and purposes, that script, that show, that menu has remained a favorite for 5 decades.
See, now, admittedly, next time I come down, you need to take me there. It's been forever since I've been there, actually. So now you're painting a picture, and I need to go. And I'm all in for strawberry shortcake. That's fine with me.
And the food is delicious. I would put that fried chicken up against some of the best fried chicken. And for some people, it is the best fried chicken. And everything sort of, it's family style and brought out in these big cast iron. It used to be buckets. Now it's cast iron skillets. They have an entirely new allergy-friendly platter, which is vegan and gluten-free with jackfruit. And the green beans are delicious, by the way. I had to try them. And cauliflower and potatoes.
You ate your veggies. Sausage. Good for you.
I always eat my veggies. And we'll get to the importance of eating veggies on a future entry on my list as well. But
really?
And actually, we have been planning to do a WDW Radio night at the Hoop-de-Doo review. We actually had a date in mind, and the response was so great. How great was it? It was so great. They couldn't accommodate us. So stay tuned. We are going to do a WDW Radio night at the Hoop-de-Doo later on this year. And hopefully, maybe we'll even get Timmy Foster to come down and join us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be swell. We'll share that. Well, you know what? Next time I was hoping for the next one on my list. I was gambling you weren't going to take it. And you didn't. But it's kind of on the same thing of a place. It's just as much about the food as it is about the theming and the vibe of the place. And this wasn't I thought of right away, but as soon as I recalled that, of course we have to put this on the list. And this is over at Hollywood Studios and the 50s 50s Primetime Cafe. And I was gambling because I figured you might snag this one early. So let me get this one in. And I mean, of course, the whole place is, it's retro America, the 50s and 60s. You're sitting at the Formica tables. I remember like at my grandma's house and watching the old TVs. And actually last time we were there, because I only got it. I don't know if I should admit this out loud. I had a salad. That's all I got.
Wait.
And I got, well, because I know. I mean, there's so much you talk about.
I'm going to judge just a little bit.
Well, I mean, there's so much to choose from, as you know. Speaking of fried chicken, they have fried chicken and meatloaf and pot roast. And my thing was, this was lunch, and I'm at the point in my life where I know if I eat this, I want Cousin Megan's traditional meatloaf. I want Aunt Liz's golden fried chicken. Mom's old-fashioned pot roast. I would love this. If I ate it, though, I would be a slug the rest of the day. Forget Rock and Roller Coaster. Even Star Tours is out of the question at this point. And I am at that point in my life, so I did play it a little conservative with the salad. But nothing will ever stop me from getting. All those menu items are wonderful and so Americana, especially how they're named. And the portions are huge. That's part of the problem for me. But I cannot leave the Primetime Cafe without indulging in one of those other great American traditions, the milkshake. And by far, and I think to me, this is one of the best desserts in all of Walt Disney World, the peanut butter and jelly milkshake. First time I had it, my knees literally buckled outside as I was walking around. Someone had to hold me up. It was so good. But again, it's more like you were talking about with Hoop-Dee-Doo Review. It's not just the food, it's the whole theming and the vibe and get your elbows off the table. I will tell you, Lou, though, when we ate there, I put my elbows on the table so many times throughout my meal because I wanted to get yelled at, but either I have a nice face or they were distracted. It must be the latter because I didn't get yelled at. I was mildly disappointed, but I tried my best to misbehave, but I didn't get yelled at. So.
You know, it sounds like dining with Tim Foster is such a unique experience because of such visceral and outward reactions that you have to things. Primetime Cafe, absolutely super high on my list because, again, the menu is that comfort food, the chicken and the pot roast and the meatloaf and other favorites from our childhood. And it's called comfort food for a reason. And that's what 50s Primetime Cafe, for me, Tim, it was almost more about the place than it was the menu itself because it is that slice of Americana and Days Gone By, and you know that I am very much a nostalgic, and that, you know, mid-50s home that from, you know, look, when you first walk in, you're sort of in Dad's den, that sort of waiting area there with the TVs and all the stuff, and that the decor of the cookie jar and the teapots and those weird ceramic figurines that your grandmother had all of her house, to Dad's basement bar, right? Sort of like Dad's liquor cabinet, to Mom's kitchen. You mentioned the Formica tables and the TVs with I Love Lucy and Father Knows Best and Mickey Mouse Club. The environment and the atmosphere here is really almost why you go. Like I love getting the like the sampler platter, and then but other things like deviled eggs. Like, you know, deviled eggs is one of the things on the appetizer menu that you get because it reminds you of those nostalgic times at home. I love the fact that it's also akin to Hoop-Dee-Doo, is almost theater as much as it is just a dining experience, because minding your manners and having your cousin serving you, and even the way that you're called to your table and the costumes that they wear, it is very much a performance. They are cast members as much, if not more so, than servers and bussers and hosts, etc., because of the show that is put on there. And I think all those things combined is why this is such a wonderful, welcome, and comforting slice of Americana.
I feel better. See, I have my elbows on the desk right now, and I'd feel better if you yelled at me to get my elbows off the table.
You know what? I don't know that I've ever done
nothing.
I don't know that I've ever done a live. I'm thinking I don't think I've ever done a live dining review of 50s Primetime.
Oh.
If only there was anybody who would come and review. Whatever. I'm sure I can find somebody.
Well, make sure try your best to get yelled at, though, because that's
it's right. Listen, much like being at my grandmother's house, it was easy to get yelled at.
Yeah.
I'm going to go slightly off because I want to sort of mix things up a little bit, but also call attention to possibly an area not only that you may never not have thought about, but you may have necessarily been consciously aware of what it is and why it is there. It is not about the items on the menu than it necessarily is. And yes, the items on the menu are very patriotic because it's same thing. It's burgers, it's hot dogs, it's fried chicken nuggets. But I want you to come with me to Rosie's All-American Cafe. And it's, again, it's not because of the menu. It's because of where you are. So Rosie's is part of the Sunset Ranch Market over near Tower of Terror on Sunset Boulevard. And I love this area because it sort of harkens back to that World War II time period, the victory effort that was made here in America and Rosie the Riveter. But if you look carefully, you'll see Rosie's Victory Garden. So to the right rear of the building is this garden you probably have walked by but never necessarily had noticed. And during wartime, people would plant their own victory gardens, in which they would plant their own fruits and vegetables and herbs to help free up supplies so that more of these items would be available to be sent to troops. It's estimated that like 20 million Americans had victory gardens during World War II and produced almost 40% of all the vegetables produced in the country. And I love that because there's a piece of important American history grounded in reality here. There's an educational opportunity. It fits into this area, this time period of the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, etc. And even looking at some of the things that are grown there, Rosie's uses the produce for some of the food that is used in the restaurant. You'll see that there's like peppers and beans and cabbage and whatnot, and that are rotated throughout the different times of the year. You can also see there's a scarecrow dressed as an airman. There's like a wind spinner, like dressed like Uncle Sam. There's a weather vane made to look like a battleship. Yes, the food is fine. Again, the hot dogs and the cheeseburgers and all that stuff. But it really is about the American history, the story that's being told there of a very important, very patriotic time in American history.
You know, one of the things I love the most about Disney and you, Lou Mangello, is you can never know everything. You're always learning something new. I didn't know about all of what you just said. And that is so cool. And I'm going to, next time I go, I got to check that out. I was unaware of that.
When you go to the pickup counter and even like to the comment section, there's a ton of authentic period memorabilia up on the walls, embedded into the counter and stuff too. I mean, there really is a treasure trove of little, again, authentic pieces of Americana there.
And I was just there. I had that's where you get hot dogs, right? This particular one.
You can get hot dogs.
No, of the many stands there, because I wasn't sure I ended up actually.
Hot dogs.
No, I was there.
Hot dogs, cheeseburgers, all that. I think
I got one.
They even have a plant-based lobster roll, like a plant-based Maine lobster
there you go.
roll there. I think it's made of hearts of palm.
There you go. Well, I mean, I went for a chili cheese hot dog or whatever during Christmas, and I just at night and I was watching Tower of Terror in my own little corner, but I was unaware of all of this other stuff I'm talking about. So I know where I'm going to at least learn some history. Let's see for my next one. Well, hey, my next one. So this is a place we pretty much go here every time we go to Walt Disney World. I'm heading out to the resorts now. We're getting out of the parks for a little bit. It's hard for me to say which resort is my favorite, but absolutely at the top of the list to be considered is the Wilderness Lodge. And not a trip goes by when we don't make it a point to go to the Whispering Canyon for lunch. So, and again, it's not just the food, it's the experience. And I have gotten yelled at there many a time. And we've done all the things. Like my daughter asked for ketchup once. We ended up with 12 bottles of ketchup. I asked for the large iced tea and got a whole mason jar of iced tea. All of that stuff. But at the end of the day, it kind of is about the food. And we've gotten all kinds of stuff. But of course, the signature dish at Whispering Canyon are the skillets. And we've had them a few times. I still can't get over they call one the pig, which is fantastic, I think. But if you're not familiar with these skillets, it's literally a skillet, but it's overflowing with all kinds of Americana good food, ribs and beef brisket, pulled pork, chicken, potatoes, veggies. You got your buttered corn and green beans, but there is a land and sea one with salmon and chicken and sausage. But these are it's just something you share with everybody. It's such an Americana thing. There's so much there to talk about. I can't list all the foods that are in there, but yeah, it's a good time. I was going to say something else about the Whispering Canyon, how they yelled at me. Oh, I remember what I was going to say.
Sounds like you get yelled at a lot during your meals.
No, I remember. Well, the Whispering Canyon is fun because they you don't have to do anything. They just yell at you on purpose. I don't know if they do this anymore. I did find years ago one fantastic way to get yelled at was to, in all innocence, ask your server, "Do you know how to get to Universal Studios?" Oh, you will get yelled at.
You deserve it.
And you deserve it, which is great. I think we actually did that once just for the reaction. But I do remember once, who was I with? I can't remember. I had to stand up in front of everybody and act out I'm a little teapot. Well,
if you weren't at 50s primetime, then something's wrong, because that's probably the only place that should happen. So if you're singing I'm a little teapot at, Yachtsman Steakhouse, then something is amiss.
No, it's the Whispering Canyon. I did this. And you don't remember this, do you? Because it was you.
Tim, there's a lot of experiences we've had together that I really
you don't remember that one.
Block out of my mind.
No, you and I think there's video. We had to sing I'm a little teapot. No, we have to sing. We had to act it out. I think we were joined by other dads in the audience, but I will never forget the experience. Clearly, it made no impression on you, but that's okay. I'm not hurt.
Again, I'd like to thank my therapist. I'm going to piggyback on yours, and in the interest of time, I'm going to double up and I'm going to double down because they all are sort of connected. When you said Wilderness Lodge, and look, I agree with you 1,000% because that sort of cowboy Americana and the skillets, etc., for Whispering Canyon belongs on my list, but I don't have it on my list per se. What I do have in terms of Wilderness Lodge is a twofer. I'm going to combine these two. When I thought of Wilderness Lodge, the first thing that I put on my list was not a place, but a specific menu item. It's at Geyser Point, one of my favorite places in Walt Disney World.
Ooh.
And it's a burger, but it's the bison burger. Now, calm your face, because I can hear it from here.
What?
This bison burger is served with bacon, sweet, crispy onion straws, this Marionberry sauce, and a garlic aioli. I think it's $19, somewhere around there. Little Timmy Foster, is this the best burger in all of Walt Disney World?
I knew this question was going to come up.
Right. He says this and pauses for dramatic effect. We'll see when I do the top 10 burgers in Walt Disney World, but I will tell you that
that's
it's up there. Because it is, you would never, if you weren't told it's bison, you almost wouldn't know, because it's not gamey at all, but it's incredibly juicy and salty and garlicky. And believe it or not, Timmy Foster, in the interest of wanting to hopefully, bison is actually a healthier alternative to beef because it's lower in fat, it's lower in calories, it's full of micronutrients and minerals, and it's a much leaner burger than beef. And you can actually get this both in sort of the sit-down lounge area as well as from the quick service. So you've got this sort of cross between counter service and sit-down. You can get it at both. But the bison burger, absolutely, without question, falls on the list because bison too, sort of this very sort of American animal.
Well, that's an American animal, to be sure.
And forgive me if I'm taking yours, but it might even be able to segue into. You cannot, like de facto, have a conversation about all American foods without including the singular, definitive, all-American dessert, which is apple pie. It is, again, that comfort, true slice of home. I've actually done the research, Tim. supposedly, according to the American Pie Council, 1 out of 5 Americans name it as their favorite. And over at the Whispering Canyon Cafe, of which you just made mention, they have a Granny Smith apple pie. It's big and it's flaky and it's served by the slice a la mode, obviously. And it's layered with these tart and sweet Granny Smith apples and has almost like this flaky, cakey top crust, which is delicious and offers so many different sort of textures it is fantastic. And because of the list, it is truly the all-American dessert.
That I've had and totally agree. I'm with you on that one. And if your discussion of the burger, if that was an invitation that you're going to take me to go have one, I'm all in.
It is always.
I don't know if that's what you meant, but I'm going with it.
Timmy Foster.
Right. Oh, let's see. So our next one, this is actually on my list for sort of another reason, but this is also home to when you talk about what your favorite burger is and the best burger. I'm not going to lay claim that this is the best burger in all of Walt Disney World, but it's one of my favorites. And I don't even know if this would even crack your list because it's kind of an out there one, but this is over. The next entry on my list is the Grand Floridian Cafe. And the burger entry, although I have a better reason why this is on the list, but the burger entry, it's one of my favorite things I seem to always find myself getting. This is the lobster thermidor burger, which, when you're talking picnics and barbecues and fireworks and hamburgers and hot dogs and baseball in the field, I'm not sure lobster thermidor burger is something you're putting in the picnic basket necessarily, but it is oh so good. It's a lobster tail, or lobster these days used to be a whole lobster tail, but on the burger with thermidor sauce, and it's so good. Again, I don't know if that cracks your top 10 of burgers in the park, but that's one of my favorites. But the actual reason I have the Grand Floridian Cafe on my list is one of the other entrees that I get quite frequently. And to me, this says Americana stamped all over it, and that's the shrimp and grits, which at the Grand Floridian Cafe, it's jumbo ship with chorizo and fennel served on cheese grits. And the fun thing about cheese grits, one, they're awesome. They're oh so good, and they do fill you up. I didn't know if I was going to cheat and go for 2-for-1 on this entry, but this dish is served in a few other restaurants, but with slightly different variations on it. You know what? You did a 2-for-1. I'm going to go 2-for-1. So the other place you can get this, and I just had this on the last trip, not a place you might think of to go get this kind of dish, but it was over at the Coral Reef at Epcot, which also has a shrimp and grits entree. This time it's cheddar grits with corn succotash, andouille sausage, and Creole spice emulsion. Oh, so good. And yeah, it's shrimp, so that's close enough for seafood. So I didn't violate the go to Coral Reef and you got chicken or something, which seems to be against the rules, I think, but you can do it anyway. So, but both of those dishes are so filling, but so full, so hearty, and and these aren't the only two places you can get it, but those are two of my favorites. And for like you mentioned, apple pie at Whispering Canyon, desserts aplenty. Key lime tart, key lime pie to me, that's the Florida Keys. That screams fun America, refreshing stuff. That's one of my favorites. Key lime delights is to be found at the Coral Reef with the key lime tart, which is it's fun to eat, but also beautiful to look at. But eat it anyway because it's good. And you and I shared a lobster, not one, but a pair of lobster thermidor burgers once at the cafe. I don't know if you remember that. I'm curious if you do. You seem to forget so much of it.
I do, and I thank you for clarifying how we exactly shared the burger. Not
the same one. Yeah, I wanted to make clear that was a.
So I want to show you what I'm going to do here in terms of sneaking one in that wouldn't necessarily be on my list, because you said shrimp and grits, and then it started me thinking about sort of Southern cooking, right? What sort of Southern foods? Again, we talked about the diversity of the cultures and the parts of the country. So the shrimp and grits got me thinking about the South, got me thinking about things like biscuits and gravy and hush puppies and deviled eggs and all those things. Art Smith's Homecoming is a slice of Southern Americana. Those biscuits and gravy and maybe some conch fritters, some hush puppies and some deviled eggs, and they've got catfish and country fried steak and short ribs. Like, this is, and again, if you've never had hummingbird cake, like it's a Southern thing, and pecan pie. Art Smith's is a true slice of Americana for any and all of those reasons. And Tim, if you've never been there for brunch, I got to take you there for that too. But that wasn't on my list. That's not where I was going.
No, I'll tell you. Yes, you need to take me. I haven't been. The only thing I'll say
down for a week, and all we just
I know. But remember, if it's at lunch and if we're going on Tower Terror, I'm just getting a salad. So just keep that in mind. We have to time it right.
We'll talk about it. I'm going to order for you. That's the deal. Wherever we go, you have to let me order for you. I think that if I'm buying, at least let me order for you and help introduce you, so you could at least my feeling has always been try something once, and then if you say you don't like it, that's fine. You shouldn't.
Well, it's not a matter of me not liking it. It's a matter if you want to wheel me around the park to the rest of the day, I'm all in. But that's fine. You know, it's funny because I'm aware of the hummingbird pie and I've never had it, but I'll take that back. Locally here, I went to a store to get food and I decided I needed a dessert because I deserved it. I had a rough day. And I got what I thought was carrot cake, only to get home and realize, I got hummingbird cake, which was so good. So, and I'm aware of it in Disney. I have not had it yet. And it's just reinforced the idea I got to get down there and have this at Disney because it is so good.
And Chef Art's is the best I've ever. And if you've never had hummingbird cake, it is this pineapple banana cake with cream cheese frosting. It's fantastic, and they serve it like with a little fruit like gastrique, and it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious.
Delicious.
All right, quickly going back to the last few on my menu. Thinking about foods once again, and we've sort of touched on these a little bit on some of the other places we've mentioned. One of the foods I think that is inherently American, but is not singular in definition. In fact, when you talk about this food item, you have to talk about it in context of where it comes from. Because this one food item is basically like 4 different types of food, because you can't say barbecue without talking about where it's from. I chose the barbecue at the Regal Eagle, not the Regal Beagle from Three's Company with Jack Tripper, but 70s reference, but the Regal Eagle at the American Adventure Pavilion. And when you talk about barbecue, what I meant when I was referring to is, while it is inherently American, it's very, very different depending on what style, what region of the country you get it from. Texas, Memphis, Carolina, Kansas City. Each will argue that they are the true definition of what barbecue is, right? Memphis is a dry rub. Texas might be a barbecue beef brisket, or Kansas City chicken. So inside the Regal Eagle, which I have only tasted something once, I've never done a full review there yet. Maybe now is the time. Now is the best time to do it. There is also something that is very, very American, and it's the Muppets, because it's Sam's Centennial Cook-Off. It's a salute to all cook-offs, but mostly barbecue. Inside, it's designed to look like Sam is hosting this barbecue restaurant, and the 4 different American barbecue traditions each have different Muppet, pitmasters serving each. So there's the Blue Ribbon Brisket Society headed by Bobo the Bear, who has Texas brisket with that spicy mop sauce. They literally sort of take like a mop and slop on that tangy, delicious sauce. Sizzlin' Pit Dry Rub Coalition is headed by Ralph. That has Memphis-style barbecue. The Blue Ridge Vinegar League, headed by Janice. Again, the Carolina barbecue is it's heavily vinegar-based sauces. And the Old Glory Mustard Guild, headed by Gonzo, who has that Carolina gold, sort of more mustardy-based sauce. From the food that's served inside, where it is served, the decor, the tradition, the Muppets, the Regal Eagle Barbecue is like everything Americana sort of rolled into a single place.
Another place you're going to have to take me to.
I will. By the way, I'm famished. I should have had a disclaimer. Never listen to this show hungry, especially when we're doing top 10 all-American foods at Walt Disney World. But yeah, the Regal Eagle Smokehouse has a pretty extensive menu: ribs, burgers, brisket, chicken, cheeseburgers. There's salads. Again, there's a plant-based jackfruit burger, which is also barbecued. But I need to go and do a full review. If only there was anybody who would come with me.
If only. Now, when you say, it's funny, when you say barbecue at Disney, the two things that come to mind are the Whispering Canyon that we talked about, and something else we recently talked about, the burning room scene in Spaceship Earth. That's the first thing I think of.
Too soon.
I maintain.
Too soon.
Too soon what?
I mean, first of all,
it
was
maintain
the burning of the library. It wasn't the burning of barbecue, but okay.
Well, no, but we all know. We just talked about it, and I maintain if they put like a little barbecue stand outside of Spaceship Earth, they would clean up. But all right, I'm gonna go. I think we're at the last ones on our list, so I'm gonna do one. I'll let you do the 57 honorable mentions. But I don't think the origins of this are strictly American, but I think when you think of picnics and carnivals and 4th of July and all that kind of stuff, one thing that comes to mind, I'm surprised it took us this long to get here, is ice cream, of course. And actually I was thinking of, like you said with barbecue, there's so many places you can talk about, or some other things like hot dogs, you can get them in so many places. I was thinking, where do I go for ice cream? And I'm sure you have a couple others on your list, but I think hands down the number one spot would be Beaches and Cream, not just for the ice cream, but for the theming and the decor of this place. So like we've talked about with so many of these other venues, this is like your classic, on the shore boardwalk, shake ice cream stand with I don't know what it is about the Formica tables and the tile floors and all that, but it just screams fun-filled summers. Dare I say 4th of July is at the shore, of which I've spent many a year at Old Jersey Shore up in this neck of the woods. And it always reminds me of that. I mean, you can get burgers in your Reuben and all that kind of stuff, but you didn't go there for the lunch. You went there for the ice cream. And we all know about the kitchen sink, and we've had ours. And I won't, unless, Lou, you want to go through the whole, everything that's on there, including that can of whipped cream, how much, if you want to do that, that's fine. But the only thing funny about the kitchen sink, I do warn people, is it's great when you start, and don't get me wrong, get it, because it's like, for the few who don't know, it's just every flavor ice cream, every topping in the place, all put together, a whole can of whipped cream. It's fun when it starts and you pick out your favorites. I do kind of run into the wall when you get to the bottom, and it by this time it's just a murky glop of cherry chocolate Snicker gummy. It's kind of a mess when you get to the bottom there, but it's still a good time. I personally, though, I'm a no way Jose kind of guy with the peanut butter and hot fudge on my chocolate vanilla ice cream. I'm that. Or hey, you can't go wrong if you're talking about good old fashioned Americana dessert. You talk about apple pie, I'll counter with a classic banana split. If you want to go that way, that's always a good thing. Get stuff on the go. Get that milkshake. Get those 3 scoops of ice cream. It's good stuff. Like I said, I'm a no way, Jose. A lot of people go for the kitchen sink. That's an experience unto itself. But just even going for the decor and the vibe of the place and some of that nostalgic boardwalk feel is, to me, that's classic 4th of July to me. So
I dig. It deserves its place on the list. I agree that the kitchen sink is not the best item on the menu. I'm, again, not a sweets guy, but I like the No Way Jose. But again, Americana, the root beer float, right? The Coke floats.
Yeah.
Things that it's lost a little bit of the counter service soda shop feel once it was expanded a couple of years ago, but it does have that Jersey boardwalk 30s and 40s vibe to it. If we're getting to the end of our lists, there is one that is not an honorable mention that has to be on this list. Many would say, what took you guys so long? Why wasn't it first? Because the Liberty Tree Tavern is the quintessential all-American. I won't go too deep into it, but this is like, it's the OG Walt Disney World restaurant, right? And that has not changed, like Hoop-Dee-Doo, going full circle to my first entry. It has not changed much since 1971. Yes, they had character dining at one point, but it's classic. It's nostalgic. It is all you can enjoy, very American, comfort food. It's like Thanksgiving every day. But more importantly, it is representative, and I love the details inside. It is modeled after an 18th century colonial American home. And when you walk in, I sort of love this feature. It what seems like this almost cavernous lobby sort of waiting area. You're really gathering around the fireplace, right? It is sort of this living room of a family home. And from the seed glass on the windows to each of the 6 unique themed dining areas that has a fireplace and artifacts appropriate for the person that they are dedicated to, like John Paul Jones, the silversmith tools in Paul Revere's room, Benjamin Franklin's kite and keys, Betsy Ross, Thomas Jefferson, Paul Revere, George and Martha. Like, I love the rich American history that's here. And I pay attention to the minute details and then sort of take a wider view out. Look at the small brick portico. Look at the oak floors and the curtains hung from these cloth loops and the textures and the materials that are used to create the blinds and the pewter mugs and the hope chest and the copper pots and the iron kettles. You feel like you have stepped back in time in every single aspect of it. And, you know, while yes, the menu itself, and again, it's only open for lunch and dinner, but the menu itself is this all you care for American fare. It's turkey, pot roast, pork, mashed potatoes, stuffing, and mac and cheese. You know, it is sort of that Thanksgiving feast. And they also have this amazing Johnny Appleseed warm apple cake with caramel topping on top. It's just delicious. But this is, I think, for a lot of people, not just a Disney rite of passage. It's so quintessential Americana. And I know for a lot of people, Tim, like, this is where they go around the holidays. And when I say the holidays, I mean like from Thanksgiving to post New Year's. Like, they'll come here for Thanksgiving, they'll come here for Christmas, they'll come here for New Year's, because it is this sort of family getting together, gathering around arguably the most important place in a home, not just in colonial times, but now, which is the dining table. And it's one of the things that I love so much about. And I think dinner is still, it's only like $39, which it sounds like a lot, but it's not a lot. Remember, it's all you can eat, compared to some other all you can eat, all you care to enjoy locations. It is not overly expensive. I think kids are like $20, somewhere around there. But Liberty Tree Tavern, Liberty Square, all of that, without a doubt, arguably is should be, depending on how you define it, the number one all-American location and food in Walt Disney World.
Agreed totally. The only see for me, it's that problem again. If I got an evening of Big Thunder Mountain, Space Mountain ahead of me, all I care to eat mashed potatoes and stuffing might not be the best choice, but it is. You're right. It's so good. I'm going to throw one little honorable mention because I'm sure you got a zillion of them. This is actually, I think Casey's Corner was the first thing I thought of. The second thing I thought of, and I feel like people out there are screaming, what about this? It reminds me of those nights when you would be staking out your spot at Illuminations an hour ahead of time, an hour and a half, whatever it was. You're at the center of World Showcase. You're sitting there, you're waiting, and you're staring, and you're looking at the funnel cake stand at the American Adventure. Do I dare? I'll send the kids, go over and get me some funnel cake. And then, because I've seen so many people do that. But yeah, if it's a simple thing, but the funnel cake, which you can get in several places at Disney, but to me, it starts and stops at the American Adventure kiosk there. And it just reminds me of those the carnivals that come to town and they set up and you get the rickety Ferris wheel and the little fish pond you get your prizes out of, and the stand with the snacks. And today it's like fried Oreos and fried everything else, but absolutely there's always funnel cake there, and it just reminds me of those days. Which again go with summers and 4th of July and I said those traveling carnivals and that sort of thing. So that was my one honorable mention I was going to put on the list. So I will sit back, relax, and listen to your 73.
No, I dig that because it does. It again, I'm very much, a sentimental kind of guy. I'm going through some sort of weird, like change of life things. So everything is, I'm in a very, very, very nostalgic mood. And it got me thinking of as a kid growing up in New Jersey and having funnel cake at the boardwalk or, my school or church's carnivals, and then taking my kids as they were going up to their school's carnival as well. I don't have a lot of honorable mentions, but I have a few that certainly bear mentioning, because I think if you think of what else are all American foods, what else screams America and Walt Disney World, nothing says Walt Disney World. And this is not about the flavors. It's not about the buckets, but it's about the popcorn on Main Street. Specifically,
I'm waiting for you to bring this up.
Yeah. There's something about the simplicity, the nostalgia, the idea of just grabbing that little cardboard popcorn bucket, and walking down the street with your child, with your spouse, with your friends, with your parents, whatever it is. I don't know. Like, if you know, if you agree, you agree. If not, that's okay. But popcorn specifically on Main Street bears mentioning on the list. I also was like, what else is truly like an American institution? Ordering Chinese food, yes, but what else is an American institution? It's pizza. And this was a tough one for me, because where is the best pizza in Walt Disney World is a separate conversation for a separate day, but you have to, I think, put pizza on the list. The only place I think would sort of, at this point, bear mentioning in terms of where I would go for the best pizza would be Via Napoli in Epcot, in the Italy Pavilion, or Pizza Ponte in Disney Springs, right outside of Marie and Enzo's. I will also say, just because I dig it, another place I think has a wonderful spectrum of all American foods, if you know me, you know me, is the Boathouse. Like, the Boathouse has steak and Maine lobster and Key West shrimp and crab cakes and tacos and New York steak and hamburgers. It is sort of this, salute to all things America in, as you know me, is a favorite place of mine. And I will quickly point out, depending on when you listen to this, as Disney sometimes want to do, they will have themed food offerings. And right now, again, around 4th of July, there is an entire patriotic food guide. And patriotic themed foods throughout the parks. So Columbia Harbor House has strawberry shortcake. Casey's Corner has special hot dogs. There's a red velvet cookie ice cream sandwich at Plaza Ice Cream Parlor. There's an apple pie cupcake at Battle Express. A lot of red, white, and blue themed items through the parks, through the resorts. You can find it on the Disney Parks blog, the patriotic food offerings in Walt Disney World. I want to know, though, from you, our friend who is listening, probably starving, where or what is your favorite all-American meal? It could be a singular item. It could be a place. It could be a combination of either or both. Let me know by one. I'll post this question in the Clubhouse. It is our group over on Facebook at wdwradio.com/clubhouse. You can also call the voicemail. I'll play your answer on the air at 407-900-9391. Or you can email me, Lou, at WDW Radio, and I will hopefully read it on a future episode. And do you know who else celebrates America and all of the countries on our big blue planet? Is, of course, Celebrations Magazine and GuideToTheMagic.com.
Thanks. Hey, before I get into this, there is one glaring omission. I was sure you were going to honorable mention it, but I don't think you did. And I just want to say, because everybody's probably screaming right now, you mentioned turkey in passing, but I think you got to mention not only this American thing, but this very quintessential Disney snack, the turkey leg.
How did we not mention the turkey leg?
I see people are screaming out there. How could you not say? Now, I will confess, I can never bring myself to get one because they look so big and messy and all that. So I have them. But like I said, that's not just an American thing. That is right up there in like top 3 Disney snacks of all time. So it's out there. So I know. Have you had a turkey leg, Lou?
I have. It's been years.
Oh, there you go.
They're big and meaty and salty, but
yeah, it's a lot.
We'll have to do that too. We'll share a turkey leg.
So when we're done that, oh yeah, there's Celebrations Magazine. Hey, but I just wanted to mention, so very soon, and Lou, you're going to be the first to know. We're about to officially announce and put up for pre-sale. We have a new book coming out to go with our 50th anniversary book we did last year. And this is another hardcover coffee table book celebrating Epcot's 40th year. We go through all 40 years, all the attractions, the origins of Epcot, how it was dreamed up, what it could have been, what it became, and everything. And that's coming in the fall. And like I said, we're going to announce an official big pre-sale celebration very shortly. And Lou, like I said, you will be the first to know. I already set aside a copy for you. So
I can't wait. I love what you do. And again, people can find it at Celebrations. And I'll link to this in
celebrationspress.com. Yes, I forgot to say. Yes.
So, I hope you enjoyed what really is sort of like our 2-part. Again, last week we talked about celebrating America in the Disney parks, and this week our top 10 all-American foods in Walt Disney World. I love this country. I am very patriotic. And, you know, like they said, like Captain America said, you might be saying to yourself, Lou, aren't the Stars and Stripes a little old-fashioned? Agent Phil Coulson said in his infinite wisdom, with everything that's happening, people might just need a little bit of old-fashioned. I think we could all use a little bit of simpler, delicious times once again. So Timmy Foster, thank you so very much.
Yep.
My friend, your friend, sitting here with us, starving in your car or at your desk or at home. Thank you for being here again. And don't forget to share your favorite all-American meal in the Clubhouse. And Tim, I look forward to doing this with you. And again, adding to our... you know what we should do?
Oh, what?
We should when you come down, we're going to have a contest. And we're going to give away a live dining review with me and you at one of the places on our list.
Oh, I'm in.
I just
bring on the hot dogs or wherever you're taking.
I was going to say, wow, you're a cheap date. Hot dogs, all right, it's fine. 3 hot dogs.
I want the bison burger. You sold me on the bison burger.
time for our Walt Disney World Trivia Question of the Week, where I invite you to test your knowledge of Walt Disney World's history or see how you pay attention to the details in which you see, hear, remember, maybe even taste. If you think you know the answer, you can enter for a chance to win a Disney prize package. And this week's trivia contest is once again brought to you by you. Because as part of the WDW Radio Nation, you help bring every episode of the show to life, every live broadcast from the parks, the contests and giveaways. They're all thanks to and by, for, with, and about you. And you can find out how you can help the show for as little as $1 per month and get exclusive rewards every month like scavenger hunts, group video calls, access to our private Facebook group, shirts, stickers, monthly care packages, early access and discounts to special events, and much more. And don't forget that a portion of your contribution helps benefit our Dream Team project, which benefits the Make-A-Wish Foundation of America. Thanks to you, we've raised more than $550,000 to help children with life-threatening illnesses and their families visit Walt Disney World. You can find out more by visiting WDWRadio.com/support. And I want to quickly thank some new and longtime members, including Judy Miller, Kelly Faulkner, Ben Burke, Mary Locker, and Tony Mendyke. I sincerely love and appreciate you. And again, to find out more and join the nation, visit WDWRadio.com/support. Now, before we get to this week's question, we're going to go back, review last week's, and select our winner. So last week, I asked you to tell me where in Walt Disney World can or could you hear the phrase, that's no big deal. Anybody can do that voice-activating stuff. Watch this. Thanks to everyone who entered. Man, you guys really know your stuff, because this, of course, is from the grandfather in Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress. If you're not sure exactly where it's from, maybe this will help.
Tree lights 30% brighter. Wow.
Oh, that's no big deal. Anybody can do that voice-activated stuff. Watch this. Roar, speak.
John, the oven should respond to your voice commands now.
That is, of course, Grandpa in the final Christmas scene of Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress. Now, I took all the correct entries, randomly selected one, and last week you were playing for a WDW Radio pin, keychain, and bonus mystery prize. And last week's winner, randomly selected, is Greg Hennedy. So, Greg, congratulations. I'll get your prize package out to you right away. Now, if you played last week and didn't win, that's okay, because here's your next chance to enter in this week's Walt Disney World Trivia Challenge. So as long as we're staying on this patriotic, all-American theme, your question this week is to tell me which U.S. president was the first to record his voice for the Hall of Presidents in Liberty Square. What president was the first to actually record and use his voice in the Hall of Presidents in Liberty Square? You have until July 3rd at 11:59 p.m. Eastern to go to WDWRadio.com, click on this week's podcast, use the form there, and this week, instead of the pin and the keychain, you're going to play for a WDW Radio mug and bonus mystery prize. So good luck and have fun. That's going to do it for this week's show. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in this and every week. Please let me know your favorite all-American food or location in Walt Disney World. You can come be part of the community and conversation by posting in the WDW Radio Clubhouse at WDWRadio.com/clubhouse, as well as anything else you'd like to discuss in the Disney, Marvel, or Star Wars universe. You can also connect with me on social. I am at Lou Mangello on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Be sure to like the WDW Radio page on Facebook at facebook.com/WDW Radio, and be sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing, not just for our regular Wednesday night WDW Radio live show every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, but more importantly, this week, I want to take you somewhere very, very special. And I invite you to please join me on board the christening cruise of the Disney Wish this Wednesday, June 29th through Saturday, July 2nd. I'm going to be sharing live video as well as Instagram stories and posts from the Wish, just so that you can experience the entire ship, amenities, activities, staterooms, dining, and everything else the ship has to offer. There's also going to be some interviews and a few surprises as well. I want to take you through the entire voyage from boarding through disembarkation. This way you can see firsthand what the experience is like. This way, when you're ready to cruise on the Wish, you'll know exactly what to expect. By the way, you can still join us on our December 5th WDW Radio Group Cruise on the Wish. For more information, visit wdwradio.com/events. In addition to live video, I am going to be sharing a lot of stories and photos on my Instagram at instagram.com/Lou Mongello. And if you have any questions, including things you want to know or see or experience, please post them over in the WDW Radio Clubhouse at wdwradio.com/clubhouse. I'm also going to take your questions live during the broadcast to make sure you have everything you need to know. Also, Becky Mankin from Mousefan Travel, she's going to be on board as well with me to help answer any travel or booking related questions you might have. Switching gears just a little bit from cruising on the Wish and events we can do together to how I might be able to help you, whether you're looking for a speaker for your conference, your business, your event, or for your school, or if I can help you turn what you love into what you do by taking your idea, your blog, your business, or your brand to the next level. Tickets are on sale for my Momentum Weekend Workshop in Walt Disney World, October 22nd and 23rd. This intimate, interactive event is limited to 50 people, and we are about 50% sold out. If you are wondering if this is for you or someone you know, if you go to loumongello.com/momentum, I also just posted a recap video from last year's event. And if you or someone you know is a speaker and are interested in presenting at this year's Momentum, you'll also find that I just opened the speaker applications, again, at loumongello.com/momentum. And if you like the show, and I hope that you do, all I ask that you please help spread the word, tell a friend, share a link to this or your favorite episode on social, and if you can, take just a couple of seconds to rate and review the show over on Apple Podcasts or leave a quick rating over in Spotify Podcast. I want to thank some recent reviewers like JS Mem, who says, "It's like being there. It's a great podcast. I love to get some Disney magic when I'm missing the world. Lou is full of great and interesting facts. A must listen if you're a Walt Disney World fan." And Luis from Brazil says, "It's the best podcast about Disney. Thank you, Lou, for everything you do for the Disney community." Thank you, Luis and JSMM, for being part and creating this incredible community over in the Clubhouse, here on the podcast, during the live videos, and at the events that we get to do together. Keep being that positive light and influence and change that you want to see in the world by choosing the good and being the good, an example of the good for others as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you for listening, your friendship, your love, your support, and the gift that you give me of allowing me to share something I love so much with you each and every week for 18 years. I love you. I appreciate you. If I can help you, please let me know. I hope that this truly is your best week ever. I hope to see you this week virtually on the Disney Wish. So until next time, see ya.
Hey, Lou. My name's Ron. I am from Titusville, Florida, not very far from Disney World. Love the parks. I'm loving what you're doing with the show. This is really great. I just listened to your episode all talking about America, the effects of America and Disney, Disney's love of America, and I wanted to share with you. I am a dog-faced soldier. 3rd ID, U.S. Army, located in Savannah, Georgia. It's a great base, but the mascot of the 3rd ID is Rocky the Bulldog. Rocky the Bulldog was created by Walt Disney himself in 1965, and Walt Disney sold all rights to Rocky the Bulldog to the 3rd ID for $1. This is a little tidbit that every dog-faced soldier knows about. It just goes to show how much Walt Disney loved America and what he was willing to do for the armed forces. Just a little history for you. You probably knew about it, but, spread the word. Thanks for everything you're doing, and see ya.
Hello, Lou. It's Christine Morrison in Flowertown, Pennsylvania. And I just finished listening to the latest podcast with Kendall Foreman, the top 10, I believe it was, American references in the parks. I was listening to you guys talk about the Hall of Presidents, and I made a point last July. I got to the park early by myself, and I made that one of my to-dos because I hadn't been there in so long. And I think everybody needs to revisit that regardless of your political views, because like you, Lou, I am so not a political person whatsoever. It's just not my thing. But I walked out of there feeling so proud to be a part of this country and so patriotic and like almost in tears. And it helps you it helps ground you into what our country is truly about, what democracy is truly about, how it all came about in our country, and what the presidency is supposed to mean. And regardless of your views, it's something that we can all get behind, and it helps ground us. I think it's definitely a must-see still to this day for everybody. Like, I need to get my kids back in there. I really loved it. The other one that I've heard the narration for, but I've never seen is, I believe it's Golden Dreams, narrated by Whoopi Goldberg in Disneyland. I love listening to that, and that one's all about, I believe, the history of California, and how the West was built. And there's some very interesting things in that too that I never knew. So I learned history from that as well. And I think, the other thing, what my sister and I are going to try and do, my father, is a Vietnam War veteran, who was injured in combat, and has a Purple Heart, and is a gigantic Walt Disney and Disney fan. And again, as I've told you guys before, where my love for Disney spurs from. But we wanted to try to get him as one of the veterans to do the flag ceremony in Magic Kingdom and surprise him with that. So we're going to try. I'll let you know how it goes. Anyway, everybody have a wonderful night. Make somebody smile. It's Monday evening in Pennsylvania. Take care. Bye-bye.